Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker, and I'm feeling better today. I'm sorry I wasn't here last night. I just kind of hit the wall. I was a little bit burned out, honestly. I had a massive headache all day yesterday. I felt terrible. I was laying around. I was trying to get my act together. Couldn't do it, but I'm back and feeling much better today. And I'm really glad to be here because we have a lot of cool things to talk about tonight. Some of this is actually, I think, pretty positive. So I'm kind of cranked. Looks like there's optimism on the subject of the hostages in the Gaza Strip. Looks like they're working on a deal. Positive stuff there. We're going to talk about flying cars and future cities. I have a report that I've prepared. I'll share that with you. We will talk about housing. Since we're talking about future cities, we'll show you how the government of the day is dealing with the housing crisis and the jobs crisis, the economy. This stuff is not quite so positive, but we'll dig into it anyway. Tomorrow in Canada, they'll have an economic update from the government, and ahead of that, we are hearing from the opposition, Pierre Poilievre, Conservative Party of Canada leader, about problems with all those gabillions of dollars that are being heaped upon the auto companies, and specifically Stellantis. We'll tell you what the problem is with that. And what else do I have for you tonight? The Christmas tree, the White House Christmas tree. We've got that queued up for you too. We're going to show you Dr. Jill Biden's Christmas tree. And Elon Musk is sounding the alarm bell, or at least drawing our attention to a massive, humongous, ginormous investment in artificial intelligence by Microsoft. And we'll take a quick look as well at the new leader in Argentina. Some people are already suspicious and connecting him to, you guessed it, the new world order. Don't go away. I've got all that. And maybe a watch party to watch a movie at the end of the show. And at some point, we'll probably go to the phones so that you guys can call in and share your thoughts on the news of the day, and especially the cities of the future.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth awaits. Choose not the red pill. Choose not the blue pill. For both are an illusion. Discover the power of M. The power of individuality. We are Mavericks. We are the way to the light. Fear not the storm. Join our quest for truth. Truth will set you free. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So tonight, it's all about things to come. Really. What will the future be like? Things to come. We can run and hide, or we can meet the challenges of the future head on. And from what I've been seeing in the last few days and the last week even, there's a lot of stuff actually to be pretty darn excited about. I'm kind of pumped. This whole idea of flying cars, I'm cranked. I mean, I always kind of liked the idea of flying cars when I was younger. I remember, as a real ankle biter when I was just a wee one, elementary school, being assigned a project, all the kids told to design a city of the future. So everybody had, towers and Jetsons style buildings, and we all drew flying cars. And we haven't quite managed to get there. But tonight, we'll show you that these things, these flying cars, could be a real thing. They could become commonplace by the end of this decade. They have the technology and the plan. So I'm going to share that with you tonight. And then, because this is all about things to come, I think at the end of the broadcast, what we'll do is we'll run one of my favorite movies of all time and have a watch party. Things to come. Science fiction. And it deals with issues that we're really dealing with today. War, technology, a possible apocalypse. Oh, I know everybody's thinking, zombie apocalypse today, but no, I mean, this was like real Armageddon apocalypse as envisioned, back in the 1930s, I think it was 1936, this movie was made. And still holds up today. It's a great film. And I know some of you will say, oh, it's really old. Yeah, but no, it's actually awesome. So we might run that at the end of the show. But let's deal with some of the current news of the day first, okay? Before we get into all of that other stuff. Let's start with the hostages. So, what's going on with the hostages? looks like Biden says that he believes a deal is close to freeing the hostages in Gaza. He was out there standing in a sort of a scrum. You could hear I think the helicopter in the background really loud. He was taking part in the annual Thanksgiving turkey pardon at the White House. And he was asked by a reporter who shouted it to him if an agreement was close. And he answered in the affirmative. Let me show you the clip that has everybody talking tonight all around the world. Where'd you go there, Joe? Okay, I've got John Kirby queued up for after. I've lost my clip of Sleepy Joe. Come on, Joe. Wherefore dart thou? Ah, come on. There it is. I got you, Joe. I found you. So many things queued up tonight. Lots to share with you. And here's El Presidente Joe Biden talking about the first time I'm talking in Spanish, and now it's French because my Franglish, Spanish, whatever. I always get it all mixed up, jumbled, and it's like Italian spaghetti, Spanish, French stuff. I don't know. I studied Spanish in college and French in elementary school, so no wonder my brain is all scrambled. But here's Joe.
Is a hostage deal near? Sir, is a hostage deal near? Mr. President, is a hostage deal near? I believe so. I'm not prepared to talk. Believe so? Yes. President, is a hostage deal near?
Yeah. So that was it. And then he did actually hold up his hand and crossed his fingers like, hope so. So that one little thing from the President of the United States was enough to, set off a cascade of tweets and social media posts and speculation all around the world. So let's go to the White House and pick up the news conference with John Kirby, who is also addressing this very matter, along with an update on the situation in Ukraine. Hang on, here we go. Here we go. We got him.
We'll just move right to the top, right? So today, I think Secretary Austin is in Kyiv to meet with Ukraine's leaders and reinforce our staunch support for Ukraine's fight for freedom against Russia's brutal invasion. The Secretary underscored President Biden's abiding commitment to provide Ukraine with the weapons and equipment that it needs to retake its sovereign territory and defend itself. Now in Kyiv, Secretary Austin announced a new security assistance package using previously authorized presidential drawdown authorities. It includes Stinger anti-aircraft missiles and additional HIMARS systems, additional HIMARS ammunition, 155 millimeter and 105 millimeter artillery rounds, Javelin and AT-4 anti-tank systems, and of course, millions of rounds of small arms ammunition. This announcement will obviously help meet Ukraine's immediate battlefield needs, but only just that. Again, we want to urge Congress to pass the supplemental request that we put in front of them to allow us to keep supporting Ukraine in an unimpeded, uninterrupted way. The runway continues to get shorter with each and every passing assistance package that we provide them. As President Biden has said, when aggressors don't pay a price for their aggression, they'll cause more chaos and death and destruction. They just keep on going. And the costs and the threats to America and to the world will keep rising. So the actions that we take, and just as critically, the potential actions we don't take, will reverberate for many years to come. Speaking of that, I'm sure you saw the op-ed piece that the president wrote for the Washington Post over the weekend, laying out how the world faces an inflection point right now. Again, about where the choices we make will determine our future for generations to come. As he noted, we continue to stand firmly with the Israeli people as they defend themselves against Hamas, a terrorist group that has vowed to wipe Israel off the map and has promised to conduct attacks similar to the ones on September 7th of October, again and again and again. So President Biden and the team here is doing everything we can to help get the hostages that Hamas took, get them released, including young children and, of course, Americans that are in that pool. Now, I know this is of great interest to all of you. I just want to let you know we're still working this hour by hour. I do not have an update for you on the hostage deal that we're trying to negotiate. But as you heard the Deputy National Security Advisor say yesterday, we believe we're closer than we've ever been. So we're hopeful. But there's still work to be done, and nothing is done until it's all done. So we're going to keep working on this. We're also working to increase the flow of life-saving humanitarian assistance, food, water, medicine. We're calling for respecting the international law in terms of minimizing the loss of innocent lives. And of course, we're continuing to advocate for humanitarian pauses so that people can get out of harm's way and that aid and assistance can get in. And of course, you saw us levy multiple rounds of sanctions to degrade Hamas's financial structure, cutting them off from outside funding and trying to make it harder for them to be able to resource the kinds of attacks that they conducted on the 7th of October. So just a real quick update on the latest figures, and then I'll be done. Over the last couple of days, the 18th and the 19th of November, almost into Gaza, with approximately 18,000 gallons of fuel. That will help support food distribution, and it'll help generators for the hospital so they can keep working. Again, we expect those deliveries to continue on a regular basis and hopefully in larger quantities. I'm talking about the fuel specifically there. And then just lastly, the total number of U.S. citizens that we've been able to move out of Gaza through that Rafah crossing is now up to 800. We're continuing to work that every day as well.
John, the United Nations says nowhere is safe in Gaza. Is the U.S. working with Israel to create a safe area in Gaza for civilians?
What we've talked to the Israelis about, particularly now as they're beginning to plan operations in the south, where so many people have moved, is to make it clear that they have obligations to not only allow for that safe passage, but to make sure they're not putting all those civilians, now more civilians in southern Gaza than were before, putting them in harm's way.
Secondly, I know you don't want to talk about hostages, but in general, is Israel on board with the idea of a pause of a few days?
That gets into our negotiations here for the hostages. They have instituted, again, at our urging, they've instituted these daily humanitarian pauses. And in some cases, they were supposed to be 4 hours a day. They've actually expanded them up to 7 hours a day. So they're happening on a regular basis, and they're predominantly designed to allow people in the north to move through a couple of safe corridors to the south. So it's the pause to let people get out. That's the principal purpose of that. But I think you can imagine, and again, I want to be careful here, I don't negotiate in public, but if you're going to secure the release of hostages, and we certainly hope we're going to be able to do that soon, you got to make sure they can get from where they are to safety and do that as safely as possible, which means you're going to have at least a temporary localized stop in the fighting to allow them to move. I mean, we also can't take for granted that all these people are easily mobile and don't have some sort of health issues that require perhaps a slower route out or assistance getting out. So I don't want to negotiate in public, but we believe we're getting closer. Mike?
John, you talked about the negotiations. Everybody's been sort of talking about the swirl of, the contacts between the U.S. and Israel and Qatar and Hamas. When you talk to the family members, one of their deep abiding frustrations is that it's, I think, day 45, and they don't have any information, proof of life, conditions that normally the Red Cross would go in, would at least, determine something about the fate of their, some of these people are, believe that their loved ones either are sick or need medicine or have been injured or whatever. Is there nothing that the U.S. and Israeli governments can tell the hostage families without compromising the ongoing negotiations to actually get some release? And if not, what do you think explains the fact that the Red Cross hasn't been able to get in there?
I can't speak specifically to the Red Cross access. Hamas has control here over where they are and how they are. So it could be an issue of Hamas holding that kind of access up. I can tell you we're doing the best we can with the information that we have to keep the families informed, American families informed. There's not that many of them. We know who they are, and we're doing the best we can to keep them informed, including and keep them informed on the process of trying to secure release. But I'm not going to, I'm not going to lie here. There's in some cases a paucity of information. I mean, it has been difficult to get any great detail on every single hostage, where they are, how they are, and move that process forward in terms of informing the families. We'll do what we can. We're informing them to the maximum degree we can. They have a right to know everything that we know, and we'll just keep doing it on our own as best we can.
Thanks so much, John. Has the president had any additional calls with world leaders about the hostage deal today?
Not that I'm tracking today.
And what's the last time you spoke to Prime Minister and then
It was the last call that they had.
Can you just give us a sense of the level of trust right now? And I know you can't speak to specifics, but in these negotiations, how much trust is there in those conversations between all parties over the hostage deal?
It's a negotiation, and it's over human lives. You do the best you can going back and forth with the arrangements, which we're doing right now. And at some point, when you come down to executing, when you hit go, then you're counting on everybody to meet their commitments. And that's what we're doing.
Admiral, over the weekend, President Biden in his op-ed said that the U.S. was preparing to issue visa bans against Israeli extremists attacking civilians on the West Bank. What effect would that actually have?
Well, that would, if you were to impose a visa ban, it would prevent that individual from traveling here to the United States.
Is there any timeline on when that might be instituted?
I don't have a timeline for you. Nor do I have a final decision.
Is that meant to be a deterrent?
Nor do I have a final decision.
Is the Biden administration upset by how this is playing out in the West Bank, what those extremists are doing to Palestinians in the West Bank?
Of course we are. The president has spoken to this many, many times, including from the Rose Garden when he was here with the Australian Prime Minister. I mean, what's happening with the settler violence is unacceptable, absolutely reprehensible. And yes, we wouldn't have talked about the potential examining visa bans. And again, no final decision here. If it wasn't just another clear statement of our deep concern over this.
What other sanctions are being considered besides the visa?
I don't have anything else.
Oh, thanks so much. There's been fighting over the last few days and hours around the Indonesian hospital in Gaza.
Yeah.
Can you speak to whether or not there's U.S. intelligence that suggests that too is some sort of hub for Hamas activity, and what the U.S. feeling is about those reports of shelling in and near that hospital?
Hospitals should not be the scenes of firefights. We've been very clear about that. You got patients in there, you got medical staff, you got people whose lives are literally at risk and are innocent victims of this. They shouldn't be put at more risk than they already are, being held up in a hospital or holed up in a hospital because of health issues, can't move. So we don't want to see firefights in hospitals. I don't have any specific intelligence about the degree to which Hamas is or is not using that particular hospital. Nothing to share today.
John, I was just curious. You mentioned Hamas still determined to try to carry out any sort of terrorist attack abroad. This Thanksgiving week, is there any elevated risk of terror attacks here at home? And is the White House or NSC doing anything specific? Because of the holiday week, most people obviously kind of check out in D.C. I'm just curious, are you staffing up in a difference because of the terror threat?
We're not tracking any specific credible threat here at home over the holiday. That said, I think you can understand we're going to be as vigilant as we have been since this conflict began, and certainly make sure that we, to the best we can identify any potential domestic threats and disrupt them before they can take place. We're watching this all very, very closely for spillover effects from the fight between Israel and Hamas, both against the Jewish community and, of course, the Muslim community here in the United States. But again, I'm not tracking any specific credible threat that's being acted on at this time.
Back at the Indonesian hospital, my colleague spoke with the hospital administrator who said that President Biden needs to do more to protect hospitals in Gaza because, quote, he's the only one Netanyahu will listen to. Could you comment on that? And also, is the U.S. at all concerned that Israel is being seen as attacking one Gaza hospital after another, and also areas in the south now?
The president, in every conversation that he has with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and it's not just him, Secretary Blinken, Secretary Austin, Jake Sullivan, the whole team here, at every instance, continues to urge Israelis to be as cautious and deliberate and as careful as they can in conducting these operations against Hamas, which they have a right and a responsibility to do, to go after Hamas. They also have a right and a responsibility, an added burden, if you will, because of the way Hamas fights, to do everything they can to look after civilian casualties. It is a part of every discussion that we're having with our Israeli counterparts. And I'm sorry, the second question was?
The second question was, is the United States at all concerned that Israel is seen attacking a hospital after a hospital?
Well, as I said, I think in my previous answer, we don't want to see hospitals as battlegrounds. We don't want to see firefights in hospitals. Now, as we've also said, at least when it comes to Al-Shifa, I don't have any intelligence on this Indonesia hospital, but at Al-Shifa, we did have intelligence that corroborated the Israeli claims that Hamas was using it as a command and control node. So it puts an added burden on Israel as they conduct operations in and around hospitals to be even more discriminate and more careful. Because again, you got real live patients, real live doctors, real live nurses that you got to look out for. On the other hand, you've got a real life threat. You got a group that seems to think it's okay to bury themselves in the basement of a hospital and use it to command and control their operations. And that presents a viable, legitimate threat to the security of the Israeli people. So it's about striking that balance.
Thank you. John, the White House condemned Elon Musk in pretty strong terms last week after he once again said something that was considered anti-Semitic. You called his comments abhorrent. This administration, this government is very reliant on Elon Musk's, particularly SpaceX technology, Starlink technology. Have there been any efforts made to wean the government off of his technology or find some kind of replacement for it?
I'm not aware of any efforts to do that, Nancy, but I think we've been very clear about the rhetoric and how inappropriate it is, and we'll call it out every time we see it.
But is the president concerned that the Pentagon and NASA are so reliant on someone who holds these views and appears to even more routinely embrace conspiracy theories?
We rely on a lot of the defense industry, a lot of the private sector to help us with our innovation, to help us with research and development on new systems, and to help us in the realm of space and cyberspace. There's a real benefit to private-public partnership when it comes to those kinds of national security threats and national security challenges. There's innovation out there in the private sector that we'd be foolish to walk away from. I'm not aware of any specific efforts to address our concerns over his rhetoric through the way that his companies provide support to our national security establishment. But that doesn't mean that we accept or agree with or condone in any way that anti-Semitic rhetoric that he pushed.
Thank you, John. Does the U.S. have any assessment of what the Israeli military is describing as CCTV footage of Hamas bringing through hostages through Al-Shifa Hospital on October 7th?
I don't.
On the hostages, if women and children end up being released first, which is what it sounds like the situation is probably headed towards, does the U.S. have any sense of how many in that mix might be American citizens?
I don't want to get ahead of where we are, MJ. I mean, I know that everybody's interested in the numbers and who they're going to be. We're working that through literally in real time with both sides. So I think it's better if I just don't speculate about what that pool is going to look like. Obviously, we are laser focused on the American citizens that we know are being held hostage, and we want them out. All of them. Everybody should be out now. But here we are in a negotiation, and we're getting closer to the end, we believe, of that negotiation. So again, I'm going to be careful.
For any of the potential American hostages, is there confidence that they are alive? I know that you've addressed the lack of proof of life videos and such in the past, but
I would say we have no indication otherwise.
Thanks, John. There was media reports over the weekend that U.S. pressure had resulted in the Palestinian Authority taking down a tweet that had accused the Israeli helicopters of most of the deaths at that music festival. Can you elaborate on that at all?
I mean, I don't know, what would you want me to say
Well,
to that?
I mean, can you confirm it? Can you give any information about, what kind of communications there were between the U.S. and the Palestinian Authority about that messaging?
I'm not aware of any specific messaging between us and the PA on that. I mean, obviously, it's simply not true. It was Hamas paragliding into a music festival. I mean, there was no Israeli participation in that at all.
And then I just wonder if you could elaborate a bit on the president's remarks in the op-ed about a revitalized Palestinian Authority. Like, what would that look like? Is it new leadership? Is it a different structure? Like, could you just talk about that a little more?
It's, what it looks like is going to depend on the Palestinian people. But what he's referring to there is a Palestinian Authority that has the credibility, has the legitimacy, has the authority, has the support of all Palestinians, so that they can effectively help with post-conflict governance, particularly in Gaza. But what it actually looks like is really and should be up to Palestinians.
A couple more in the back. Go ahead.
Great. Hi, John. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you. President Biden stood by calling President Xi a dictator at the APEC press conference. China's foreign ministry condemned this as, quote, extremely incorrect and irresponsible political manipulation. What is the administration's response or reaction to this?
We came away from San Francisco with some concrete deliverables on fentanyl, on military-to-military communications, on getting our two teams together to start working on artificial intelligence, particularly in the national security realm. There was an awful lot of very good outcomes out of this meeting between President Biden and President Xi, and the president's looking forward. We're looking forward to managing this relationship in a more responsible way and moving things forward, looking for ways where we can cooperate, but also not being afraid to confront where we can, including on the tensions in the South China Sea. So the president's and his whole national security team is focused forward now, coming out of San Francisco.
Still going to call him a dictator each time you see him?
The president made it very clear. He was asked a direct question. He gave a direct answer, and he stands by that direct answer. That doesn't mean, as true as that statement was, doesn't mean that there aren't still prospects here to find ways to cooperate and to compete with China in a more responsible way going forward. And that's where the president's head is.
When these two leaders met, did they agree to meet again or speak again in the near term?
They agreed that they would meet again, but there was no date put on the calendar. What's really important now is that the military-to-military comms will begin to start, and even down to the theater commander level, and maybe even lower than that. So that's the immediate channels of communication that we're looking at getting back open.
Thank you, Karine. I've got a question about fentanyl, then a question about the Gaza conflict. On fentanyl, the Chinese president committed to reducing the export of fentanyl and fentanyl precursors. But under President Biden, there have been 200,000 Americans who have stopped breathing and died as a result of these chemicals. As of earlier this year, we're still at record monthly numbers. If there is not a drop in American deaths, will President Biden hold the Chinese president personally responsible?
It was really significant what President Xi was willing to commit to for the first time now in several years. I mean, they're really going forward here and willing to take law enforcement action to shut down the export of these ingredients, the precursor chemicals that the labs largely in our own hemisphere are creating to make fentanyl. It's a big step forward, and we're grateful for that. And we'll see how they are in execution. And I think we all need to understand that it may be some time before you see the practical results of this crackdown on the precursors, but we're grateful for that. But it's not just the precursor chemicals. I'll try it again in English. But it's the labs in our own hemisphere that are taking those chemicals, those ingredients, making fentanyl, and then moving it north up to our borders. And it's a serious problem. And again, as the president said at the press conference, this agreement will save lives, will save American lives. And President Xi said he was committed to helping with that.
Before turning to the second question, just to follow up on that, the Chinese president's in charge of a single-party state. He's said in the past that he'd crack down on fentanyl, and U.S. deaths hit an all-time record last year. I mean, is President Biden not going to consider him personally responsible if American deaths do not go down?
He has said he was going to be personally responsible for stemming the flow of these chemicals out of China, and we're grateful for that. That's gonna take a little bit of time as he goes back to Beijing and puts those processes in place, those law enforcement actions. We're grateful for that.
Second question. Protesters here in DC, in New York, across the country, they've settled on a nickname for the president. They've been calling him Genocide Joe. They wrote it on the gates. Do you have a response from the White House to that nickname that they've settled on?
We're not worried about nicknames and bumper stickers. I mean, it's First Amendment, free speech. The president's focused on, as he wrote in his op-ed, on making sure that we can continue to support Israel as they fight a terrible terrorist group, Hamas, and as we all work together to get humanitarian assistance in and get people out, including hostages. I said this the other day. Again, people can say what they want on the sidewalk, and that we respect that. That's what the First Amendment's about. But this word genocide is getting thrown around in a pretty inappropriate way by lots of different folks. What Hamas wants, make no mistake about it, is genocide. They want to wipe Israel off the map. They've said so publicly, more than one occasion. In fact, just recently. And they've said that they're not going to stop. What happened on the 7th of October is going to happen again and again and again. And what happened on the 7th of October? Murder, slaughter of innocent people in their homes or at a music festival. That's genocidal intentions. Yes, there are too many civilian casualties in Gaza. Yes, the numbers are too high. Yes, too many families are grieving. And yes, we continue to urge the Israelis to be as careful and cautious as possible. That's not going to stop, from the president right on down. But Israel is not trying to wipe the Palestinian people off the map. Israel's not trying to wipe Gaza off the map. Israel's trying to defend itself against a genocidal terrorist threat. So if we're going to start using that word, fine, let's use it appropriately.
Okay, way in the back.
I wanted to ask you about White House advisor Amos Hochstein's visit to Israel. Can you give us a...
Okay. Let's just pull out of that. Genocide Joe, a new nickname. A new nickname for Joe Biden. I honestly had not heard that until now. Genocide Joe. Seems to me somebody's losing the information war badly.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, and Argentina has a new libertarian president. Javier Milei is being described as a volatile far-right libertarian, and he has vowed to exterminate inflation and take a chainsaw to the state. Oh, that's strong language. The other day, well, some people are saying this is Argentina's Donald Trump. You take a chainsaw to the state. Oh, some people are going to be pretty nervous about this guy. So it looks like he has secured well over half the vote, 55.69% of the vote so far. Looks like they're still counting maybe a few straggling votes, but basically almost 55, 56% of the vote. His main rival pulling in only 44%. Sergio Massa. That was his main opponent. And so he says, the new dude says that the reconstruction of Argentina can now begin. Obviously, a new path for Argentina. Let me. Jeez, this guy's like me. Yeah, this guy's like me. Here's a report from The Guardian, okay, on this guy. And check out, I think maybe I don't know if he's in the right country or the right state. Seems to me this guy might feel a lot more at home down in Texas. Oh, hang on a second here. Hang on. I want to give you this other report first, okay? Hang on. I had the wrong tab up. This is funny. The way it starts. You're going to love it, folks. You're going to love this. This is the Argentina chainsaw massacre. Argentina's Donald Trump.
Turismo y deporte, afuera. Ministerio de Cultura, afuera.
Ahí está. He's an economist, author of multiple books on economics and politics, it says. He's a character. He became a media personality, finding fame as an economic pundit on TV. Puts on costumes. His alter is General ANCAP. He's got a sense of humor. And he's vowing to battle corruption and government mismanagement. And there he is with his chainsaw.
Foto del estado que tenemos hoy. Turismo y deporte, afuera.
Oh, man. So Argentina is in for a heck of a ride with that guy. He'll be a social media rocket. For a firecracker, he is. Argentina chainsaw massacre. Love it. But not everybody does. Some people are afeared of him in the worst way. And so the smear campaigns have already started. True or not? I don't know. But some people are saying that he is, and here you can judge for yourself. There it is. How long did that take? It was probably circulating before anyway. Look, he's right there on the World Economic Forum website. Can't trust him. Let's go to the website and see if we can find him. How about that? You want to do that together? Yeah, let's see if it's true. Okay, let me get the spelling of his name correct so that we can do a proper search. There we go. I don't know. Because, you always see these things, right? And then you never know if it's true or if it isn't. Oh, come on. Stupid computer. I'm wrestling with the computer to get you this. Now, come on. Do it again. There we go. All right, I'm going to do the search. Here we go. Why is it doing that? It shouldn't do that. I'll just punch it in manually. Okay. Javier Milei. There it is. Okay. And there it is. So we can confirm tonight, definitively, without question, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he is on the World Economic Forum website. Javier Milei, Chief Economist, Corporation America International. Says he was with the Universidad de Belgrano, Argentina, 2 masters in economics, Universidad Torquato di Tella, and CEDES, IDES, former head economist, Estudio Broda and the Maxima, AFJP, senior economist, HSBC Argentina, advisor of the Argentine government, ICSID, currently head economist, Corporación América, a B20, G20 advisor, and member of Group of Economic Policy, ICC G20 since 2012, leads the Division of Economic Studies. Fundación Acordar, a think tank of national scope for more than 20 years, university professor of macroeconomics, economics of growth, microeconomics, and mathematics for economists. It has written over 50 academic papers. So the guy's no slouch. And even though he dresses up in colorful costumes and makes a splash, it looks like he's the real deal. He's an economist with real credentials, but also ties to the WEF. So we'll see. Is he really like Donald Trump? Or is he just another plant? Time will tell. Now, what else do we have for you this evening? We have Elon Musk posting this about Microsoft. What's he saying here? This is not anti-Semitic stuff or anything related to that. Controversy. Says here, this is all about AI, artificial intelligence. He says, Microsoft is currently conducting the largest infrastructure build-out that humanity has ever seen. While that may seem like hyperbole, look at the annual spend of mega projects such as nationwide rail networks, dams, or even space programs such as the Apollo moon landings. And they all pale in comparison to the $50 billion annual spend on data centers that Microsoft has penned in for 2024 and beyond. This infrastructure build-out is aimed squarely at accelerating the path to AGI and bringing the intelligence of generative AI, artificial intelligence, to every facet of life. Wow. It's coming, folks, whether we like it or not. And it will transform our world. It already is transforming our world. Artificial intelligence is having a serious impact on politics, the way we view current affairs, and information warfare. artificially generated images, memes, and even videos, completely computer generated or computer enhanced, designed to manipulate your mind, to make you think in a particular way. John Kirby in that news conference being asked about the accusations that the Israelis attacked their own people with helicopter gunships on October 7th, and that they're the ones responsible for killing not only Hamas fighters, but also Israeli citizens. That's the accusation. I've heard it repeatedly, and I've seen a lot of stuff online that is completely fake. A lot of videos and stills and recycled old footage, which we were told was current, new, which wasn't. Yeah, and I got duped on at least one occasion. Ran some footage that I thought was real, and it wasn't. It was old footage recycled from another country. But the captions were completely misleading. And so artificial intelligence, yeah, I mean, that all the propaganda coming out of Israel, Gaza, the information war there, I would say be very, very careful, folks. It's beyond distasteful. As you know, I do not like liars, and I do not like people who deceive. And that goes double for governments or any entity, organization that seeks to mislead the public with bogus information and fake imagery and video. We're getting into a very dangerous place with this stuff. And it's pretty clear to me the West, the United States, Israel, definitely losing the information warfare battle. We'll have more to say about it in the days ahead, I'm sure. And AI is also going to completely transform the workplace. It is going to be incredibly disruptive. I think what is likely to happen initially in the short run is people with high-paying, white-collar jobs, professionals, everyone from doctors, lawyers, maybe even mathematicians and physicists will find themselves out of work. Yeah, a lot of good that education does you. Yeah. The computer can do it faster, generate answers faster, and even reason and extrapolate logical conclusions and strategize with artificial generative intelligence. That's a computer reasoning things out. That means if you went to school and you have a job where you sit around and think, the computer can outthink you. So once those folks lose their jobs, what are they going to do? They're going to be out there competing for low-paying, low-skilled, labor-intensive jobs. Assembly line work barely exists anymore because mechanization, automation has taken all of that to a whole new level. There's a factory not very far from here that manufactures airbags for cars. I've been through the place. It's almost like it's eerie to walk through the place. It's a huge facility with gigantic machines that weave together the fabric for these automotive safety airbags, and there's barely any humans in the place. All they do is load the machines and take the finished product off the end of the assembly line. That's about it. And then they do have a driver who drives away, or drivers who drive away with the finished product in trucks. And soon, even that, I suspect, will be a thing of the past. Yeah. Huge change is coming, man. And we are not ready. Human beings are going to have to adapt, and we've barely been able to adjust to the social media that we're subjected to every day. Media literacy still evolving, the technology evolving much faster than us. We're still trying to figure out how to deal with issues like censorship and what our kids should be allowed to watch and what they shouldn't be, what to do with adult content online, and what to do when democracy itself is under threat because artificial intelligence is being used online through social media to manipulate the way we think and the way we vote. That will be a factor in this upcoming presidential election and in the federal election in Canada as well next year. No doubt. Of course, the issues will come to bear as well. And in Canada, those big issues as we approach the next federal election include housing and jobs. Well, tomorrow in Canada, the federal government will be coming forth with an economic statement. But ahead of that, today, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, had this to say about those billions of dollars that are going to automotive companies, and specifically Stellantis, which is a big multinational corporation, the parent company for companies like Chrysler, which used to be an all-American car company, one of the big three. Now it's just part of Stellantis, which also owns companies like Alfa Romeo, many other brands, automotive brands from around the world. Well, apparently, all this money that is being poured into Stellantis by the Canadian government, a lot of the people that will be working on the electrification of the auto plants, the Stellantis plants in Canada, they aren't even Canadian citizens or won't be. So this has turned into something of an issue, even a scandal of sorts, a new one, because some people say that that's an inappropriate use of federal taxpayer dollars. Hate to say it, but I told you so.
Now we learn that the $15 billion grant to the Stellantis plant will fund mostly jobs for non-Canadians, not immigrants. We love jobs for immigrants. Jobs for people who are not Canadian citizens and will not be Canadian citizens. They will come here, get a taxpayer-funded paycheck, and take it back to their country. I love South Korea. Wonderful country. But they don't fund jobs for Canadians, and we shouldn't fund jobs for their workers. Our money should fund our paychecks. Bring it home. That's why common sense conservatives are demanding a full inquiry into how many of these taxpayer-funded jobs are going to temporary foreign workers. We want a commitment that none of the money should go to temporary foreign workers, should only come to Canadians. This is a $15 billion grant to one company. $15 billion works out to $1,000 for every single Canadian family. You got 15 million families in Canada. You got $15 billion for this one company. Every family in Canada will give $1,000 to this plant. And now we know that the majority of the jobs won't even go to Canadians. Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost.
Wow. So that was from today, and then clipped out and posted on his website. Do you have an extra grand kicking around to just throw at a big multinational corporation? How does that sound? Yeah, well, that's what they've done. They've taken food off everyone's tables, right across the country, and they've handed that to Stellantis. And that's not the only company. That's just one. You also have Volkswagen. You have all the auto companies. You have the parts plants. Other companies partnering with them to produce battery plants. The money, the government money being poured into the electrification of the auto industry is mind-boggling. Who has an extra grand? Hardly anybody to cough up for these big companies. That's what's fueling inflation. Money printing and debt. Overspending. And this is really not overspending. It's also inappropriate spending, in my opinion. And housing, also a big issue. Housing crisis, housing shortage, mass immigration. Not enough supply, way more demand. Prices are on the increase. This is what happened today in the House of Commons during question period. Here we go.
Oral question, questions orales, l'honorable chef de l'opposition.
After 8 years of this Liberal government, this Prime Minister is just not worth the cost. According to the PBO and the Governor of the Bank of Canada, I'm right. This Liberal Prime Minister is adding to inflation and interest rates. Scotiabank has said that these deficits are increasing interest rates by 2%. That means another $700 per month for paying the average mortgage. Before Canadians lose their homes, will this Prime Minister finally accept my common sense plan and announce a date and a plan for balancing the budget and reducing inflation and interest rates? The Honourable President of the Treasury Board. Mr. Speaker, unlike the Conservatives, our government has a plan to help Canadians to get through this difficult period. For example, we are helping 4 million Canadians with the Canada Workers' Benefit. We are also helping 6 million Canadians thanks to indexing old age security. What is the Conservative plan? No, the fact is they don't have one.
L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Speaker, after 8 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost of mortgage payments, which are already up 150%. And the Bank of Canada and the Parliamentary Budget Officer now agree with me that his deficits are driving up interest rates. Scotiabank says deficits are driving mortgage rates up 2%. That works out to $700 per month. While carpenters and nurses are already living in their cars, and the IMF says Canada's mortgage holders are the most at risk of crisis. Will the Prime Minister finally accept my common sense plan and announce the date and the plan to balance the budget and bring down interest rates on Canadian mortgages so people don't lose their homes?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, let's be clear and accurate. Much of that spending referred to by the Leader of the Opposition was provincial in nature, not federal, Mr. Speaker. And in addition, unlike the Conservatives, Mr. Speaker, we actually have a plan to help Canadians, especially vulnerable Canadians. And the Deputy Prime Minister will table additional aspects of that plan tomorrow in the fall economic statement. But let's be clear, we are here for Canadians every single step of the way, unlike the party opposite that votes against every single time, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's plan is to increase mortgage payments by 150%, which he's already done. And now Scotiabank says government deficits have added 2 percentage points to interest rates. That works out to $700 a month or $8,400 a year in higher mortgage payments linked directly to deficits, including the massive deficits by this government. A year ago, they promised a balanced budget. They broke the promise 6 months later. Will they come back tomorrow with a plan to balance the budget so we can bring down interest rates and inflation so that Canadians can keep their homes?
The Honourable Minister for Housing. Mr. Speaker, with respect, we have a plan that's going to build more homes, that's going to restore a level of affordability in the market. Where we are cutting taxes on home builders, he wants to raise them. Where we are funding cities to increase their ambition on home building, he wants to cut them. Mr. Speaker, it is hard to accept criticisms from a member of the House of Commons who, when he had the opportunity to be the minister responsible for housing, had access to $300 million and only got 99 homes built. Mr. Speaker, we are going to build homes, and we are going to build them by the millions. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, when I was housing minister, mortgage payments were less than half of what they are now, and rent was less than half of what it is now. Those are the hard realities. And now his plan, the Prime Minister's plan, is to quadruple the carbon tax. Quadruple it. That will increase the cost of gas, heat, groceries, and yes, even housing, because it takes trucks to ship those building materials. We know that we will have a carbon tax election to decide on whether we axe the tax as I choose or whether we hike it as he promises. But can we accept a Canadian compromise and at least freeze the tax in the meantime? Yes or no?
No, they won't do it.
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, it's interesting to listen to this version of revisionist history of the Honourable Member's time as the Minister responsible for housing. If we actually go back and look at the numbers, you're going to see that he actually had housing starts less than 200,000 a year. Mr. Speaker, this morning we've seen data that shows that we're on pace to build more than 256,000 this year. If we want to compare apples to apples, Mr. Speaker, we're going to make a difference. Do you like apples? We're going to beat his numbers. How do you like them apples?
Oh, he's going to have to pull out an apple and start munching.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I think the minister should stick to photo ops because comedy is surely not his thing. Neither are numbers, Mr. Speaker. Everything the Prime Minister has said about the Stellantis subsidy is proven false. One, it's billions of dollars over budget before shovels in the ground, years behind payback even before the project begins. And he claimed that it was going to create jobs for Canadians. We now learn that at least 1,500 or a majority of the jobs are going to go to temporary foreign workers. Will the Prime Minister release the contract now so that we can find out how much Canadian taxpayers are going to have to spend to give paychecks to South Korean workers?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he opposed spending that was supporting families. Now, during a national housing crisis, he opposes government investments that are actually going to get more homes built. And when we have the opportunity to make generational investments that's going to gain a toehold in a new industry, he opposes it without vision for what the future economy could be when we create many thousands of jobs. Mr. Speaker, we're going to continue to invest in the Canadian economy and put workers in make sure they bring home paychecks that are going to put food on the table for their families. Hear, hear.
The Honourable Member for La Prairie.
Okay. So they just keep doing the same stupid things over and over again, in my honest opinion. We have too much inflation because they've been printing too much money and spending too much money. They've been giving all kinds of money to big companies to electrify the auto industry. They've been handing out money to all kinds of different companies. They gave out tons of money during COVID. That's the liberal way. That's what they always do. If they see a problem, they just throw money at it. If they want votes, they just buy them. They just say, hey, here's a program or here's a tax rebate thingy on this, then they tax the crap out of you and then give you some of it back and tell you you should be grateful and lie about how much you're getting back and tell you that you're getting more back than you paid in tax, and that the HST, the harmonized sales tax on fuels, the rebate you get offsets what you were paying. So you're really paying nothing, which is a giant lie. And they always take a direct approach to the housing thing too. It's like just, oh, we need houses, we'll just build them. Oh, how are you doing that? With tax money. 1.8 billion we saw committed in the province of Quebec alone over the past week. So they can build high density housing units, high rises, small apartments in a very condensed area in big cities like Montreal. Jam them in there. That's the response. That's the solution that they've come up with for the housing crisis and, by extension, the immigration crisis. Just build government, dare I say it, slums. Don't address the root problems, just build shoeboxes and stuff them in. Therein lies your 15-minute city. Everything will be within 15 minutes. Nobody gets cars. Everybody lives, well, all these people who are in those areas will be stuffed into very tight quarters, living together. Can you imagine putting a bunch of Palestinian refugees into a very densely populated city, right? And just having them live right next to a bunch of Israelis? Talk about throwing fuel on a fire. Well, it seems like that's where we're going with these guys. Out in British Columbia, they passed some new legislation. Let me see if I can find it here for you. New legislation to create, well, they're saying it's more small scale and multi-unit housing. So there's this aspect of it. Now, this is provincial stuff. But you're going to be seeing similar strategies used nationwide. And this is only one part of what I'm talking about. So here's a report about municipalities will be forced to allow more townhomes, multiplexes, and laneway homes. So this is in the suburbs. That these will be smaller housing units to allow for, what else? More density. And it says generally the requirements will allow a minimum of one secondary unit or one laneway home in all single family or duplex residential homes. Within municipalities of more than 5,000 people, zoning will allow for 3 to 4 units in select areas on single family or duplex lots, depending on lot size. So they're going to jam more housing units onto smaller pieces of land. A minimum of 6 units will be allowed in select areas zoned for larger single family or duplex residential located close to transit stops with frequent service. So that's the strategy that we're seeing now, is build lots of housing next to public transit centers, hubs. It says municipalities covered by the legislation may permit additional density if desired, additional density on top, but cannot have bylaws that allow for fewer permitted units than the provincial legislation. So they're going to make this mandatory. They're going to take the power for zoning out of the hands of municipalities and make the wishes of the provincial government mandatory. Make those provincial and even federal high density targets mandatory. Impose them upon the lower levels of government. It's not just that, though. I may have lost the tab on this, so let me just find it again. It's also about what's going on in big cities. So the BC government is going to allow high-rise residential towers of up to 20 stories near all SkyTrain stations and up to 12 stories near bus exchanges. High-density, transit-oriented development will be the law of the land in British Columbia. And this is a smaller media outlet reporting on this. Right here. And I'll show you that this is where the future is going out in British Columbia. And I would say across Canada. Government of BC introduced new landmark legislation to enable significantly more residential density. Densification. That's the catchphrase in the areas around major transit hubs, defined as SkyTrain stations and bus exchanges. This represents another major move by the provincial government that overrides municipal governments in a bid to combat the housing affordability and supply crisis. The densification adjacent to transit hubs will also serve to increase ridership on TransLink and BC Transit. Now, of course, all this thinking is based primarily on and is centered on public transit as it exists today. So monorails, mainly bus terminals. There will be some exceptions, however. The densification requirements will apply to residential or mixed-use residential land uses, zoning under commercial, agricultural, and industrial land uses, as well as First Nations reserve lands, and federal and safety considerations for airports, including Richmond, will not apply. So for all SkyTrain stations in Metro Vancouver, municipal governments will be required to allow minimum residential building heights of up to 20 stories for sites within 200 meters of a station, up to 12 stories for sites between 201 and 400 meters from a station, and up to 8 stories for sites 401 meters to 800 meters from a station. It says building height is one determinant for the number of new homes that can be built near these transit hubs, but another major factor is permissible floor area ratio density. Blah, 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 blah. The point is, densification is the order of the day. You're going to see a lot more people packed into smaller spaces, and it's all going to be centered around public transit. And that is what your 15-minute cities is going to look like. It's about putting people into smaller areas, getting people out of cars, making them take public transit or encouraging it, and not really providing any parking or very little because they don't want people in those densely populated areas really having a lot of cars. Take those out of the mix. So that's one version of the future. Now, that is going to happen. Again, that's coming whether we like it or not. And I'm not crazy about the idea of more densification, because with that kind of approach, you're going to amplify a lot of other problems. And I showed you studies a few nights ago that show this really amounts to an experiment. And the studies that I showed you, every single one of them have shown that wherever government has tried this kind of urban planning, it has not really turned out very well. But the jury is still out on exactly how these kinds of densification goals might be met in a positive way. The problem is that high density populations amplify problems. It's like, you can really look at what some of those problems or challenges are simply by looking at big cities where you already have high population density. New York, Tokyo, A lot of people crammed into a very small space. Study that. You'll get some answers. This is a slightly different approach. The concern I have is that it's all being driven by government, not by the market, not by free will or free choice of people, by the market, or rather by government. They're forcing this, they're planning it, and you do need urban planning. Don't get me wrong. You have to. You need to be able to plan what a city is going to look like, where your street's going to go, where your sewer systems and your infrastructure, you need all of that stuff. But if people don't have a choice, if they're just kind of jammed in there, it takes the human element out of it, and it becomes very autocratic. Worried about it. I'm not so much worried about all the digital surveillance and stuff. I mean, we already have that. I'm worried. I don't like that stuff, but people are worried about a lot of, and you can be worried about it if you want to be. You're already being tracked. So that's a different kettle of fish. It's just jamming a lot of people into a small space that concerns me the most, because you're just asking for a heap of trouble as far as I'm concerned. Because like these liberals always do this. They just take a direct line and just think that's going to solve the problem. We need houses. We'll just build some houses. How are you going to do it? Oh, well, it's not really about the free market. It's just get some government money. We'll just build them. Just tax people and build them. Tax and build. And then tax, spend on the building. Then go back and tax some more. I don't know. And then some people do get rich because of the government make work projects that it creates for a while. And so it looks for a little while like the economy is booming and everything's great. But when these government programs run out and the government money runs dry, and they've thrown weird price and supply signals at the market because it's all been government skewed, and things start to go a little haywire, or a lot haywire, which is what we're going through right now with the economy. Well, then they have to rethink things usually. That's where we end up. It ain't cool, man. And that's what Pierre Poilievre is talking about. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in a month or 2 or 3? Can you afford another $700 a month on your mortgage? A lot of families will have to find that someplace. That's massive inflation. And at the grocery store, I'm already seeing every time I go there, 20, 30% more, 40%, even 50% more just in the last few years, cumulative price increases. Quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter. Oh, it's only up like 3%. It's only up 5%. It's up 5.6% over the last quarter, or month over month even. And so over 3-4 years, that's compounding. 30% more for groceries. That means you have 30% less spending power. Your money is worth 30% less. You took a 30% wage cut. Tax on you. It's disgusting. But, that's also because people during the pandemic sat there and with their hands out and they said, gimme, 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 gimme. And the government was quite happy to do it, to keep everybody locked down and docile. Just pay them off. They'll think they're getting free money. We'll demand it back later, either through repayment, higher taxes, or inflation. And you're getting hit with all three because Trudeau has completely screwed up the economy. But the future does not have to be like that. It doesn't have to be the Justin Trudeau 15-minute future. It can be something much bolder, much brighter, much more positive. And there are solutions to these congestion problems. Nothing worse than driving in Toronto traffic. I've driven in Los Angeles. They say LA traffic is among the worst in the world. Well, I can tell you, folks, it's nothing compared to Toronto. Toronto, SUCKS, sucks. When I go to Toronto, you know what? You got to get your butt out of there before 3 p.m. or you're stuck for hours, as I'm sure all of our Toronto Maverick fam members understand. When I go up, I got to get out of there. I go early in the morning, do my business, do what I got to do, and then I hightail it out of there and I try to get back as far as, Kitchener, KW, Cambridge, get back into that zone, get out of there. And then you're kind of free and clear at that point. It's smooth sailing. But traffic is awful. But when we come back, we'll show you that there's a solution to traffic congestion. And I'm kind of pumped about it. I kind of like it. They've got it figured out. The future is right around the corner.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Cars. I've been seeing all kinds of progress made on flying cars. When I was a kid, I used to watch the Jetsons. Meet George Jetson, Jane, his wife, his son Elroy. Well, that was exciting. That was the Flintstones in the sky. Oh, and we all yearned for that, didn't we? Like, well, where are they, man? Well, actually, flying cars have been around for quite a while, quite a long time. They've just never been viable. I've seen flying cars, basically airplanes with wheels on them, folding wings, all kinds of different designs. Nothing ever really took hold. Very difficult, right? Because you needed a runway, some way to get lift off. You had to drive out to an airport, sort of thing, and then you could drive away as in a car. But now drone technology, vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, VTOLs. It's changing the game. And Hyundai has come up with a complete system. In the last week, there was an economic forum. I believe it was in New York City. No, was it Shanghai? Anyway, yeah, it was in China, I think. Maybe it was New York. I can't remember. Too many of them. Anyway, I have this report that I put together for the SSD Car Show. I'm going to share it with you here now. And it's about Hyundai's vision for the future. Korean company. Yeah, I know, government money going to South Korea, right? Just talked about that. But this is a company to keep an eye on. They are on the cutting edge, and they have come up with a whole plan for sort of mini airports in the middle of cities and in urban areas with like sky taxis. And it's pretty cool, the whole idea. Over the last few years, I've seen a lot of talk about flying cars and things, but this, baby, this is just the ticket, I think. It really kind of is. Because it's not just that they've developed a flying car that's viable in conjunction or in cooperation with other companies. They have a system. And you could be building these mini airports, heliports in these densely populated areas, or even in other areas. And you could just hop in your regular land-based cruising mobile, or maybe even an autonomously driven super taxi or whatever. But anyway, you could hightail it over to one of these heliports, check in, climb aboard, and be to a destination hundreds of miles away in a fraction of the time that it would take to drive a normal vehicle. And then get out and hail an Uber or a taxi or whatever, and then go to your other destination at the other end. This will bring the world closer together. It'll be a shrinking world. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm going to pick up the SST Car Show here now. There will be a short commercial break from that show as we pick it up. But on the other side of the commercial break, the report will run, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss it, comment on it, and we'll share some other flying car designs and ideas that have come out just within days, the last couple of days. So this is all fresh stuff, new ideas, new innovation, cutting edge, and let's take to the skies, shall we? Here we go.
Wrap yourself in a full high-definition cinema experience at home with tonight's special offer, the ST800 Premium Cinema Projector from Super Geeks. Connects to almost any video source, even computers, phones, and video game systems. Order tonight at a special clearance price of just $99. That's right, regular $259 on sale for just $99. Accepts 4K input, projects onto screens, walls, anywhere in full HD. Compact design makes it perfect for backyard movie nights. Multi-layer coated lens, long life LED bulb, cool, quiet operation. Regular $259 on sale for just $99. Call 1-866-248-1490 to order or visit supergeekssuperstore.com. Put a little Hollywood into your home with the ST800 Premium Home Cinema Projector from Super Geeks.
Sally hates paying for cable TV, so she got the Super Geeks Super Tenna. Sally called 1-866-248-1490 and ordered online at the supergeekssuperstore.com. Now she watches dozens of high-definition TV channels for free. Sally gets all the major networks and specialty channels, even old classic shows. You can too, and save money every month. 100% legal. No more monthly fees. Her picture quality is as good as or better than cable. She even gets channels the cable companies don't offer. Compact enough to mount in your attic or on your balcony, and tough enough to mount on your roof. Plus, the Super Tenna comes with a video amplifier and wireless remote control. Call 1-866-248-1490. That's 1-866-248-1490. Get smart like Sally and order your Super Tenna at supergeekssuperstore.com.
Millions suffer from hearing loss. Super Q hearing buds from Sound of Life are today's newest solution, affordable and fashionable. Only you'll know you're wearing a hearing aid because these look like modern wireless earbuds. People will think you're using them with a cell phone or to listen to music, but Super Q hearing buds are actually high-tech digital hearing amplifiers. The reviews are conclusive. Super Q hearing buds are amazing. Recharge quickly, wear all day. Each bud is specially molded for a snug fit, one for the left ear, one for the right. Super Q hearing buds, simple one-tap operation, allows easy volume adjustment with digital noise reduction. Call 1-866-248-1490 to order. On sale, half price, just $129.99. Or order online, supergeekssuperstore.com. Order with no risk, quality and satisfaction guaranteed.
You want to know what's really going on? Get to the truth behind the headlines with freedom-focused cutting-edge programs on the all-new Maverick News Channel, The Rick Walker Show, The Freedom Reporters, and The Brendan Kennedy Show, broadcasting online every night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or watch anytime on demand at mavericknewschannel.com. Go to mavericknewschannel.com and defrag your mind. New freedom-focused journalism grounded in reality for a world that has gone insane. You are watching SST.
Hey everyone, I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the SST Car Show. Hyundai has a vision for the future, for mobility, and it's in the air. It's also electric. Yes, we're talking about flying cars here, folks. And one of the first steps that Hyundai knows needs to be taken is to develop sort of a new version of an airport. Lots of them in urban centers. Check this out. In an effort to realize its vision for advanced air mobility, Hyundai Motor Group, alongside its AAM company, Supernal, made a significant push for public-private partnerships at this year's Bloomberg New Economy Forum in Singapore. Hyundai is a founding partner of the forum, which was established in 2018.
Furthering the human experience has always fascinated me. I remember as a young boy watching the first space missions. It was life-changing. We're now entering another key moment in history. Transportation innovations are converging, yet journeys remain inefficient. We see advanced air mobility as a safe, clean, accessible solution. The skies above us will open up new routes in urban and underserved locations. These will save time and enhance existing transport networks. Leading Supernal takes me back to the first pioneers of travel, that spirit of adventure, as we look ahead to the next journey.
This year, the event brought together over 400 influential figures, including CEOs, leaders, visionaries, scientists, entrepreneurs, and policymakers.
Global airline business, there are about 34,000 aircraft. So when I saw the number, I was actually very surprised that in order to support the global demand, only 30 some odd thousand aircraft can actually do that. It's because it's an extremely high utilization. So aviation industry is low volume, but extremely high utilization. On the other side of the coin, the automotive industry is extremely high volume, but very low utilization. So cars that you own, probably 23 hours a day, the car probably will be sitting in the parking lot. So this advanced air mobility will come somewhere in between. So when it scales up, because of the convenience and time saving and safety, which is the most important, people will start to see the value and benefits. And when it scales up, we believe the inflection point will come pretty quickly. Just like cell phones, you probably couldn't imagine how we lived when the cell phones didn't exist. So I think the advanced air mobility will have a very similar impact to our just personal lives. So when it happens like that, the name of the game is again how to deliver these hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of these aircraft to meet the demand. And that's why the mass production capability that Hyundai Motor Group has is essential to bring this new capability to customers. And
is there a rough estimate of that sweet spot where cost and profitability make sense?
Yes, so you have to make this affordable to the general public.
And we're talking about
and
what?
The big way to do it is bring down the unit cost when you make each unit. And so that's why mass production is so important. And also making aircraft as safe as possible, and then maintenance easy. And that relates to also manufacturing and design. So by reducing the operating cost, you will be able to make it affordable.
Supernal is a U.S.-based mobility service provider and part of Hyundai Motor Group. The company is developing an advanced air mobility electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle and aims to integrate it into existing transit options. Hyundai has produced these promotional videos to illustrate the company's vision for the future.
Supernal's vision for advanced air mobility is expansive. Our network of vertiports will serve entire cities, offering clean, efficient transportation to all. We've considered every aspect of your journey, from the first mile to the last. And for this trip, we'll begin at the beginning. Many passengers will arrive at the vertiport by fully autonomous robotaxis. The future isn't as far away as you think. Others may arrive by rideshare, bus, or train, as numerous forms of ground transportation will be connected to the Supernal Vertiport network. And since vertiports are designed to be universal mobility hubs, they'll offer other advantages, such as clean, carbon-neutral charging for everything from cars and buses to e-bikes and scooters. Well, it's time to head inside and catch a quick flight across town. Supernal's goal is to redefine what people expect from air travel. After all, a remarkable new form of mobility deserves a remarkably new passenger experience to match. Inside, you'll find some tech innovations and all the comforts, like food, drinks, and coffee, as well as comfy spots to relax, plug in, and wait for your flight. Now, let's take a look at the control room, the command center of the vertiport. It's equipped with an entirely new airspace management system that tracks and adjusts flights throughout the city, and advanced weather sensing technology that monitors local conditions in real time. It all works together to keep operations running safely and smoothly. Back in the unrestricted area, we can see all the arrivals and departures. And it looks like our next generation all-electric air vehicle is about to arrive. But that's an announcement for another time. Stay tuned.
Don't go away. There's more SST right after this. Well, no need to wait for SST because I'm right here. I'm back. Now I gotta say, I'm pumped. Do you see what that will do? You build these heliports. It solves so many problems and makes life, well, I think it improves the quality of life for everyone. Because they talk about building high-speed rail. You don't need it. So you don't need to build high-speed rail. It's in the air. You solve tons of your traffic congestion problems because it's in the air. You get people into flying cars. You don't need to build highways everywhere with overpasses stacked on top of each other. You can just have people in vehicles flying on top of each other, and you don't have to build any infrastructure. It's already there. You just need a system to make sure that people don't fly into each other. And with satellites, GPS, and advanced technology, you can make sure that these things don't fly into each other. Sensors to make sure that they see everything around them. And it will bring cities closer together. Like literally, it's like a time condenser, a time machine. You drive down there, you hop on one of these things. I could drive down, get on one in my town, and be in Toronto, which would normally be about a 3.5 hour drive. I could be there in like 20 minutes. High-speed air travel with heliports right in the center of your town. And it would be economical. It would be an alternative to driving everywhere. I think it's pretty cool myself. Now, Am I thrilled about the idea of them all being electric? No, but you could still do it with gasoline or aviation fuel. Same thing. It's just a different kind of fuel. But anyway, however they end up doing it, I just like the idea of being able to get places way faster. And I love the idea of putting it into the air so that you don't need to build all that additional infrastructure, which is a huge expense to society. You just keep stacking them higher and higher if you need to. Air lanes, right? There's so much potential there. That's the future. It's coming. It's absolutely coming. And, that's the public transit version of air mobility. But there's also, single passenger air cars, flying cars as well. Here's an example of one. And I believe this is out of China. They're always on the cutting edge of stuff in China. And let's just take a look. This is a fresh design as well. Xpeng. And there's another company out there that has just unveiled, just shown. It's just had their first flight, actually, of the Samson Sky Switchblade. It's a flying sports car. So this is a single passenger version of a flying car. I don't know how many seats. It might be like a 2-seater thing. But it's pretty cool too. But all these, this one here though, it's a different design. I don't think this is going to, if you'll excuse the pun, fly, because its design still needs a runway. So yeah, I think they've kind of missed the point. But this is just revealed fresh this week. Samson Switchblade. See, it's got that propeller in the back. I don't know. Well, it flies. That guy stole his door. Get back, or a thief. I'm going to say no. Nope. I mean, it's okay. You could buy one, but it's just an airplane that you can drive around after like a car, but you need a runway. Don't think like that. That's old school thinking, see? And they're I think that design, it's so passé. It was so yesterday. Nope. So I'm saying no to that one. What am I possibly saying yes to? I'm saying maybe yes to, how about air racing? Yeah, there's a whole sport that is evolving. Air racing, flying car racing series. This is from Airspeeder, and this is an update from them. I've done reports with them in the past, and this is pretty cool stuff. So this is like auto racing in the sky. Check this out. Here we go. Oops. Come on. There we go. There it is.
Alauda Aeronautics, a leading manufacturer of performance flying cars, has unveiled the Airspeeder Mk4, the first crewed version of its flying racing car. Designed and built in Adelaide, South Australia, the Airspeeder Mk4 is the world's fastest eVTOL aircraft. Capable of reaching a top speed of 360 kilometers per hour in just 30 seconds from a standing start, it's designed to set the bar for performance and technology in the radical new sport of piloted airspeeder racing. With its sophisticated electric propulsion system, advanced aerodynamics, and a takeoff weight of just 950 kilograms, the Airspeeder Mk4 is also extremely efficient, with a projected range of 300 kilometers while producing near zero emissions. The new aircraft is a development of the remotely piloted Mk3, which has successfully completed more than 350-plus test flights and took part in 2 airspeeder demonstration races in South Australia in 2022. Like all airspeeders, the Mk4 is intended primarily for racing, so is designed for maximum agility at high speeds and low altitudes. 2 technologies inspired by the space industry give the vehicle its unprecedented speed, maneuverability, and range. The Airspeeder Mk4 is powered by a 1,000 kilowatt turbogenerator that feeds power to the batteries and motors. Specifically designed for use in eVTOLs, this revolutionary technology allows green hydrogen to be used as fuel, providing safe, reliable, and sustainable power over long distances and flight times. The Mk4 has a projected range of over 300 kilometers or 188 miles. Alauda Aeronautics' demonstrator Thunderstrike engine incorporates a unique combustor made using 3D printing techniques, developed in the space industry for rocket engines. The combustor's design keeps the hydrogen flame temperature relatively low, greatly reducing nitrous oxide emissions. Hydrogen is an ideal fuel for future aviation, and specifically personal urban air travel. It has a high energy density and can be stored in a lightweight, compact form, making it suitable for small aircraft. It's also non-toxic and produces no emissions except pure water, so it doesn't cause air pollution. Further to this, because hydrogen gas is lighter than air, it will simply rise and disperse into the atmosphere in the event of a leak, reducing the risk of fire or explosion. As well as taking the existing eVTOL industry into the next generation H2E eVTOL era, this technology has the potential to significantly reduce emissions and create a sustainable future for individual air travel. Most eVTOL steer using tilt rotors, which are simply positioned vertically for takeoff and landing and horizontally while cruising. In contrast, the Mk4 maneuvers using a unique gimbaled thrust system, whereby an artificial intelligence flight controller individually adjusts 4 rotor pairs mounted on lightweight 3D-printed gimbals. This makes the Mk4 not only fast in a straight line, but also able to maneuver with the incredible precision essential in close-action racing. In fact, it handles less like a multicopter and more like a jet fighter or Formula One racing car. Alauda Aerospace plans to begin flight testing the Mk4 chassis and powertrain, including the first crewed flights of the airframe, in the first quarter of 2023. The aircraft will be ready to take the start line at the Airspeeder Racing Championship in 2024.
So what does that remind you of? Reminds me of pod racing in Star Wars. Phantom Menace. Star Wars Phantom Menace. Yeah, check it out. I mean, just look. Just take a look. Let me bring that up. This was in a galaxy far, far away, but those flying cars. They're right here. Remember this? Science fiction becoming science reality. I'm going to change the speed. Just do it in slow-mo, shall we? Pretty cool stuff. There's Anakin. Anakin, my boy. Use the Force, dude. Oh, no. Oh, my God. No. Save me. Yeah. See, they weren't using their GPS. He was just using the Force, and he got smushed. Don't do that. Don't do that. So, yeah, that's what's coming. That's what's coming. I think it's pretty cool myself. Don't go away when we come back. The White House Christmas tree with Jill Biden, and then we'll go to the phones. So stick with me. There's more ahead right after this.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, I can't believe that they're playing Christmas music in the stores already. But I guess we are only about a month away from having a holly jolly good time and old Saint Nick coming to visit. And today, the Christmas tree arrived at the White House, and there, with bells on, was the First Lady. I just thought we'd dip in and take a look at this old tradition, this old Christmas tree tradition being served up in an old-fashioned way to sort of contrast what we were just looking at, these cities of the future and flying cars and such. Here we go. This was the event today. They killed a tree, murdered it for Christmas. The poor tree. It's pretty big. It's not like quite like a Charlie Brown tree, but I feel sorry for it. Oh, more kids? Yeah. I feel like this is a Mr. Rogers kind of a thing. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Won't you be my friend? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? At the White House with the Budweiser horses. Don't drink and drive. Tree killers. Where did all these people come from suddenly? What are they? Are they protesters? What's going on? It's like chaos. Everybody wants to get in on the picture. See, that's what it is. They're all hams. Christmas ham? How many people had ham for Christmas? Not the wah. Turkey all the way. They had their turkey thing at the White House, I think, today too, right? What do they do with that? They save a turkey or whatever? Spare it? Pardon it? They didn't do that with that tree. It was like, too bad for you, tree. Tree killers. Why do we do that? What exactly is the history behind tree killing for Christmas? And then you bring it in the house. It's kind of a weird tradition when you think about it. Oh, what are you going to do for Christmas? I'm going to kill a tree. And I'm going to drag it inside. Put lights on it. And watch it dry out. And let the needles fall on the floor. While I sip my eggnog and get grumpy because I'm old. Yep. Come on, First Lady, something. Who's this guy? He's like, get out of here. All of you, out. Out. Enough of this. Come on, get out of here, kids. Get off my lawn. Get off. Leave that tree alone. Thank you for getting rid of them. She says, thank you so much. Oh, they were getting on my nerves.
Well, early Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you saw all our military families. It was so nice of them to join us today, all the children. And the tree, which is magnificent, is from the Klein Church Nursery. And some of the kids said that they had never seen a tree so big. So I hope you'll all come back during the holidays with your families and join us and come see the tree when it's decorated. So thank you. Thanks for being here. Happy holidays.
All right. That's it. Won't you be my Christmas neighbor? Yep. Thank you for joining. The end. And that was the tree killing ceremony at the White House. All right. Let's. All right, we're not going to do the turkey thing today. They did their turkey thing too there at the White House, but the tree is enough. The tree is enough. Just, it's enough. Okay, let's move on, shall we? I'm going to take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll take some phone calls. You can join the conversation. And hopefully what you have to say is wittier and more engaging than what I just had to say.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Fear not the storm, for truth is on our side. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back and I'm still clicking on things, trying to get the phone system set up. While I do that, I will remind you that you can support the show by donating at maverickdonations.com. Certainly appreciate that. And, it's entirely up to you guys to keep this thing a-rolling because you are the ones who support what we do. Or you can donate at freedomreporters.com. I'll go back over here and click on some more of these things. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I need to reset this whole phone thing again. It can be a little temperamental getting this thing set up. We do pay for it, as I've mentioned before, by the minute. It's a system that allows us to stack the calls up and screen everything in advance. Here we go. We got that. We got that. Oh, I know. And I can almost hear the calls coming now. People are going to be saying, don't you know that that's a 15-minute flying city up to the thing you were talking about? What's wrong with you? Why don't you hate it? Because I want to get to Toronto in 20 minutes. That's why. Because I want to get to Toronto in 20 minutes. Okay, I'm still punching in things here. I think that ought to do it. There we go. Rock and roll. All right, so we're ready to go with the phone system. It's up and running. All you have to do is dial the number. And I'm going to throw the number up on the screen by running this little transition. Here we go.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975. Free. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
I'm back. I'm back in the saddle again. And joining us is Pam. Go ahead.
Hello, Rick.
Hello.
How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah.
I just loved your show tonight. I mean, it's a bit depressing because I think that those flying cars will come to a point where you'll need to have a great social credit score, not a banking score, a social credit score to fly in them. That's my only concern.
Well, then I'm just going to strap myself to the tail of it or something and be a stowaway.
I know. When I grew up with the Jetsons was my favorite show when I was young.
Just get some racing goggles and sit outside. And what are they going to do? Nothing. Get a parachute just in case.
It sure would be neat.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
you know
man.
what I'd always wanted? I always wanted those. They have these contraptions that you can attach to yourself to your back and fly.
Yeah, those things are out there too. Those jetpacks. Yeah, but you know what? I would do if I had one of those things. I'd like launch myself into orbit and then flip it around upside down and plunk myself straight into the ground or something. So probably not wise for me to get one. Or I'd fly into a tree or electric wires or something.
I would think that would be so much fun, just that sense of freedom and adventure and wonder, and as long as you don't crash.
Yeah, well, it solves a lot of problems like traffic congestion, having to build a lot of roads. You don't need high-speed rail. You get places super fast, and not only because they fly fast, but also because you can go in a straight line, right? So it's just like,
yeah,
and then you're there.
But what would happen if, I don't know, like, who controls them? That's my question. Like, would you be controlling it, or would someone else? Like, is it an automatic driven thing?
I don't know. I mean, I think that they're basically autonomous and guided by GPS, just like drones are now. So they could be flown remotely with operators in like operations centers, or you could have a pilot on board sort of as a backup safety thing, which I think probably is what they would do initially, but don't know.
Mm-hmm. A lot of questions are on that. But anyway, the other reason I'm calling though is because when Biden met Xi Jinping in California, I noticed that there was two Marines to greet him, and they saluted him. And Marines aren't supposed to salute other leaders from other countries, so that kind of concerned me. And then the guy had to step back because Ping's driver drove up right on the red carpet. The Marine was standing at the tail end of the red carpet, and he had to step back or he would have gotten run over. Did you see that?
I did.
I don't know. Sometimes I just think this is a show. Like, how can Biden really be in charge? And when Trump gives his rallies, for someone who's going through all these indictments, he sure is cheerful. He's telling jokes and all that sort of stuff.
Well, what are you going to do? What else are you going to do? Get up there and go, oh, guys, did everything suck today? It really sucks. Actually, he kind of does in a way, but he does it in a cheerful way. It's like, it's a witch hunt. It's the worst thing ever for our country. It's shameful. It's a complete disgrace. So he does, but he does it with a smile and gets people behind him. So he complains, but in a positive way.
Well, I like it when Joe Biden said, I'd like to take him in a back room. I saw Joe Biden say that once, and then Trump at one of his recent rallies, he put up this fist and he went, ooh, like that, and then he goes, here's how I can have Joe Biden, and he stuck his hand out and blew, and then he made a symbol of the guy going right down. I mean, that was just so funny. He makes me laugh, when I watch some of these rallies. I mean, sometimes he repeats himself, but it's when he comes up with these new one-liners, it's pretty fascinating. Yeah. But anyway, I just kind of got really quite upset when I saw that Marine thing, because being a veteran, and we would never do that in Canada. We don't. Well, we'd salute like someone from the royal family because they're really our boss here in Canada. But we don't. We wouldn't salute Xi Jinping. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm not an expert on the military protocol.
Yeah.
So
And then all the flags, like they were even holding, the Marines were even holding Chinese flags, not the U.S. flag.
yeah, I know some people are trying to make a big deal out of that. I'm not really qualified at this point to comment because I don't know for sure what the protocols are. I don't know if the people who are trying to make a big deal out of it are, if what they're saying is accurate
I'm
either. I don't know.
qualified. There's actually flag rules and laws, and I was looking at them online in the States, and they're not supposed to be doing that. So that's just not the protocol of at all with the Marines, And I've been listening to other veterans, and they're just stunned by it, and they're saying the same thing. So
Well, listen, I want to keep the calls.
Anyway.
I want to keep the calls a little bit short tonight because I want to get to our feature film and watch party of things to come, and we've got a few other calls stacked up. So we'll wrap up, and I appreciate the call very much, Pam. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, take care.
All
and
right.
Hi, all Mavericks. Bye, all Mavericks. Bye.
Talk to you later. See ya. Okay, I think it's John up next. Hello, Sir John.
Hey, Rick.
How's it going?
Snowing here. Holy cow.
No.
Can't even see outside.
Get out of town.
No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of town.
It's cold out here. I don't know. I just went out for a smoke. It's freezing. I live right by, I'm about a mile from Buttonville Airport and about, 10 miles from International. All I see, I look up in the sky, all I see is planes everywhere. Helicopters in the morning, all those city TV helicopters, and I'm going, I swear to God, man, imagine flying cars up there with it. Oh,
yeah.
It's never going to happen. Not in our lifetime.
You don't think so?
No.
Why?
No, we'll be long gone. It won't happen in our lifetime. Sorry, buddy, but it's not going to happen.
Why?
No.
Why? What?
It's just technology. It's not going to move that fast. It's slow. Like cars, they don't. There's no protocols right now. Like it's going to take so long to get that happening. Maybe flying taxis. That'll be the first thing.
Yeah, well, that's what Hyundai's idea is here, right? Like heliports, and then you go there and you get on one of these things, and they carry, multiple people. They're like air taxis. With mini airports.
You know what I was thinking though? Everything runs off the internet today, eh?
Yeah.
You notice that your TV, your phone, your things in the house,
yeah,
everything. It's going to happen. Imagine the internet go down for a week. People, what do you think people are going to do? Like your show, you'd have to go radio, eh? You need you'd be off the air. You look at okay, 2 days. That's okay. 2 days, I clean up a bit, put some stuff away, organize stuff, The third day, I'm getting a little bored now. The fourth day, people were going nuts with no phones and no TVs and
Not
no
me.
nothing.
I'm gonna break out my CB radio and start talking to the truckers. That's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll just broadcast it on the CB like I did when I was a kid.
I don't think they have CBs anymore. These truckers, though, do they? I don't think so.
Yeah, you can buy.
Everything's on the phone
They're
now.
out there. They're out there. You can buy them at truck stops.
Yeah,
still buy them. Oh yeah.
It was great at one time when we can listen to all the cops and everything, but now they fixed that. Nobody can do that anymore, except some people have the technology to do that. But,
nobody can do what anymore?
Well, we used to listen into all these the truckers, the cops, fire trucks.
Oh yeah, scanners. Yeah.
Now, scanners, they don't have no more. They took them all offline. But
I think there's still stuff out there. I think there's still stuff out there. You can
1 week with no internet, 1 week no Wi-Fi, people go crazy. I don't know how people can handle it. You know, right now, you go on the subway, everybody's on the phone. They got now the subways are all high Wi-Fi everywhere now. I've got antennas. What do you call those? Antennas that I use when the internet goes out. I still get a feed. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Here you go. Here's a here's a police scanner. It's live from Steubenville, Ohio, right now.
You got one?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, from Ohio, but not in Ontario.
Yeah, it might be a little more difficult. But I think you can. There's still ways to get it, but I know that like the provincial police, they have encrypted systems and stuff like that. When I was a reporter for TV, I used to have scanners. I used to have scanners to listen to fire and police.
Out of Minnesota, Lincoln
Yeah, that was great. I used to listen to them all the time.
comes back
that
to
was
a
a lot of
Therese
fun.
Zuccarini or Cristiano Zuccarini on a 2020 Buick Enclave valid.
See, they're looking for some guy in a Buick Enclave right now, John.
10-4 of a 56 for Mr. Cristiano Zuccarini in Minnesota.
Yep, and here's EMT ambulance dispatch 1 coming right up now.
AM 000-116-571-800.
There you go.
AM
Yeah.
00116.
This is live. This is live, dude.
571-800.
Inside scoop. Now you know where all the crime is tonight in Steubenville, Ohio.
10-4, yeah.
That's right. You know what 10-4 stands for? Okay, message received.
What's that?
Yeah, that's what it means.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah, that's
10-4.
Because I'm a super duper 10 code expert. I know 10-4 means okay.
I used to have that on all the time in the background.
Yeah.
Listening in to what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
No. But I think you still can get the fire trucks and ambulance.
Yeah, some of that stuff is still in the clear. Yeah. Yeah, there are places to pick that stuff up. Yep. So you definitely can.
But I tell you, it's going to happen. We're going to have no internet for a week or two. And I don't know. I don't know if we can handle that. You know, the other day you were playing Trump there. That guy, you know, I used to like Trump, but the guy, he just rambles on like he's the greatest. He's a god. He's the greatest, but he doesn't do nothing. You know, he just rambles. The guy, he never conceded yet. He still thinks he's president. You know, and you know, when I started disliking Trump, Rick, is when he called all his mega friends to the Capitol. That was his doing, you know that. He's the guy that set that all up. He told everybody to go down there. He told everybody that we it's rigged, that they stole the election, blah, and he caused all that trouble, and he won't admit it. But he's the guy that caused all that. The guy's a poor sport. Okay, he should have just waited till the next election. And now I can't stand the guy now. You know, I really can't stand the guy. I know he's better than Biden. He's better than Trudeau. He's better than a lot of people. But what he did on that day, sicking all those people and causing that was one of the worst days in history. What he did, okay, like it ranks right up there. This will be in the books forever. What he did, and it was all his doing. I don't care what anybody says. He's the guy that told everybody to go down there and do this shit, and they did. And you know, anyhow, I know you don't really like him that much, but it's,
yeah, some people in the chat when we ran his speech, they were like, Rick's all in on Trump still, and he's, you know, no, I'm not endorsing anybody, man. I'm not. We've covered a lot of RFK stuff. I'm not endorsing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm not endorsing Trump. I'm not endorsing Biden. I don't think Biden is
No,
all there. I don't think he should be the president. I think we're in danger with him there.
no.
But I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just doing my journalism thing. That's all I'm doing.
But Biden's full of shit. Like what he's saying, oh, we almost got it. Do you really think that they have a deal done? Mind you, I'm watching Al Jazeera all day today, right now, and it's very quiet in Gaza. Maybe something's going to happen because I don't see a lot of action, but still early over there. 7 hours different. Wait till a few more hours to see if you see all those fireworks there. But I don't think they're going to concede. These guys, you see what they said today. I think I posted it, but those politicians in Israel, they're like animals in the House of Commons, whatever they call that place. They're very vicious. They're attacking each other. Like, man, oh, you get killed in there. But one politician said, he says, we should just get 100 countries together and send 20,000 Palestinians to each country, and the problem's solved. Because that's what they want. They want them all gone so they can take over, right? And Trudeau will take them. One thing Biden did that I like is he says, no, we're not having them here. We will not accept any refugees from Gaza because they hate the guy. You're going to get terrorists over there. So maybe he's smart, or maybe someone else is telling them, no, we can't take any of those people. We're on their naughty list, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, well,
Crazy
the
world
talk
there,
is
Rick.
500,000 more could be coming to Canada. That's the talk. We'll see if
Is that what they say?
That's what has been reported in the last week or so, but I don't know.
I don't know. I hope they think twice before they. Right now, you should see. I'm watching the news tonight. All these refugees at the shelters downtown, they're just coming in. She's saying, "Oh, we got some few new." They're coming in with sandals and t-shirts, sandals and t-shirts. I don't know what the first thing you got to do is get them proper clothing and blankets. And there's no shelters available in Toronto. They're just they're gonna just ship them. You said there's a lot coming your way. You probably got a lot of room up in the shelters there.
I don't know how much room they have at these things. They put a lot of them up in these sort of hotels, motels that they've been using for shelters and halfway houses. So yeah, that's what is going on down here. And they are building a new facility here, I believe. And yeah, I just recently did a video for a support agency, a volunteer organization that helps homeless people. So I might run that maybe a night this week to show you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
but I don't know where we're gonna house them. I'm telling you, like, we're full here. We're full here.
Yeah, we don't have the
And
capacity.
Toronto's
We need more. We need to build more capacity into shelters and homes. They're bringing him in too fast. We can't keep up. And they've been doing it for too many years.
Tomorrow the budget, they're going to
An economic statement. Yeah, it's not a budget. It's a statement. Yeah,
we'll see how much money they give us for refugees. That would be a clue there.
Yeah,
but I don't know. This is I don't know. I really don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting there with you, man. It's like every day it's just a weight on everyone's minds and shoulders, and it gets tiring after a while, mentally and even physically. It wears you down if you think about it all the time, as we do around here. All the stuff that they do.
But these Israel, they were talking today again how much money they have. They said, we don't need the United States money. We've got 10 billion or 50 billion on the reserve. We don't need anybody's money. We got them. Israel is a rich country, and they are. Israel is one of the richest countries in the world, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they just give them $1 million each and say, here, go, leave. Anybody who wants to leave $1 million, you'll see them lining up.
Well,
you know,
if only
be
it was that simple, right?
It is that simple, but
well, maybe
they don't want to part with their money.
It would be a lot
No,
instead of going to war. If governments would just take that money and just pay people, that would be a great solution, wouldn't it? Look at that. Yep, just here.
Yeah.
You guys go live over there. You go live over there. Here's a bunch of cash. We're going to spend it on bombs, but we're going to build houses instead. And parks.
Yeah.
Swing sets for kids and
that
hockey arenas.
Like if they want to, you're right though. If they want to send $500,000 here, Israel should pay for the housing. They got the money. They got the money. Trudeau, if he's smart, he should say, okay, we'll take $500,000, but we got lots of land, but we got no money. You build the housing, and we'll take them. You give us the money for the housing, and we'll take them. But no, that's not going to happen. They're just going to, I don't know. We're getting duped. Canada, we got stupid politicians here. They're not smart. You want to take in $500,000, get Israel to pay for it. They got the money. They got so much money, Rick. It's not funny.
You're starting to sound like Donald Trump, and Mexico will pay for the wall.
But Israel's got the money. Mexico's broke. But Israel's got the money. They are one of the richest countries in the world. I'm serious. I hear about it all day long. I can't stand watching some of this stuff, like all these kids and half leg missing, arm missing, It's terrible what's going on there. And they got no heart, it seems like. I don't know.
Yep.
Innocent people like that.
So listen, John, we're gonna move on because I want to get to this movie and watch party and a couple more callers to come in.
Yeah, I want to see that one too. I'll be interested in that.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thank
I'll
you.
send you another card tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, John. Okay.
Okay,
and
bye.
who do we have on the line now?
Good evening. It's Chris calling. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just listening to John there.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to stop. I think he needs to stop watching that all day because, I just see little bits on the news here and there, and it's really sad to see all the children. And I don't know how he can watch it all day. Kudos to him because that would drive me. I'd be over the loony bin by now.
Yep.
But anyways, that's not why I called. So Christmas trees. Oh, and by the way, have you been watching the Jetsons a lot lately?
No, not at all, actually. But it's in my brain. Yes.
Yeah, I can't see it in our time flying vehicles. Well, I'm not saying it won't happen, but
I'm telling you, it is coming. It is coming. It's coming.
Oh.
They had that conference. I've been watching this stuff. These companies like Hyundai, Toyota, just a bunch of them. Hyundai in particular, they have it all figured out. It is coming, and you'll see the first ones by the end of this decade.
Wow. Well,
and within 15 years, maybe 20, it'll be almost common. You'll see. It's coming.
Okay, so who's going to get the right of way? The jumbo, the big jetliner, the car?
It is going to transform. It will transform the airline industry. It's going to, because it's a different way of doing like short flights from city to city. So it'll revolutionize that. And then, they'll have like certain altitudes that for lanes of traffic. And You already have sensors built into your car for like lane keep assist and things like that. So they'll have the sensors so they don't collide into each other. It'll be mostly autonomous, all flying, right? You won't even have pilots on board
and how are
eventually.
they? And like, so these will all be electric batteries. So what kind of think radius we're going to get on that? Because there'll be no plug-ins up there.
They have range with these ones of, I don't know how many hundreds of miles, 250, 300 miles, I think is the range, but they don't have to be powered by batteries. You could still run them with internal combustion engines with aviation fuel, just like regular airplanes today.
Yeah, I suppose.
You can absolutely do that if they choose to. There's no problem with that because they can still be controlled digitally. Doesn't matter if they're electric motors or gasoline powered motors. It doesn't matter.
True. I don't know. I'm just visiting this in my mind here, and I'm thinking, how many times are we going to have to duck for falling vehicles that have crashed up there because people can't drive on the highways down here. So
well, the thing is, I think that what it will come to is they won't allow people to fly their own vehicles. It'll be all autonomous, and if you do have single or dual passenger vehicles, air vehicles, they'll be controlled, by computers so that you're in lanes and. Yeah, that's coming. They won't allow people, I don't think, to fly them on their own. People
that would be disastrous.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But,
that would be bad. It wouldn't be like the Jetsons, that's for sure.
It'll be like the Jetsons. It will be. It's going to be just like the Jetsons.
But you know what? I'd rather go back to the Flintstones. I like Fred's car better.
Yeah, foot power.
Yeah, what a great way to get around. I want to go backwards, not forward. But that's just me. Anyways, I know you want this movie here. So I wanted to talk about Christmas trees. So you're right. You wonder why we cut these down and bring us into our houses, and then our cats, they destroy them within the first week. And how many times do we keep redecorating, right? Because, cats, like, oh, this is great. He wants to go outside. And they climb right up inside of it. And when I was younger, as a kid, my dad and our job was to go to, remember the Boy Scouts? They used to have their little cabins, and every year they'd bring in Christmas trees.
Yep.
Okay, so my dad and I, the week before Christmas, that would be our job. We'd have to go. And my dad, who claimed he didn't like Christmas, once the tree came, he totally changed. He got funnier. And anyways, it's kind of a cool memory. We have a tree here. What happens in this town is every year they put a tree down on Main Street, right in the middle of an intersection. So you can't make left turns. You have to go out of your way to go around it. But what they do is they go to people's property, or people can call in and say, I've got this big 60-foot pine tree in my yard that I would like gone. So they'll come look at it. And if they think it would work, the town comes and takes it down for free. And then they take it and they put it downtown for about a month. And then it goes and gets chopped up, right? And it's just a tradition. I think it's been going on forever in this town. Like Friday night, light up the one for Friday night. And the sun's quite large that's down there this year. Yeah. But I don't know. I each to their own. I mean, now they're saying that the plastic ones, well, they're great year after year, but they can catch on fire, but so can real trees.
Did artificial trees catch on fire? I thought they were made of fire.
That's what they're saying, but I think it's not so much the tree. I think it's your decorations.
Yeah.
That can catch on fire. I don't think the tree itself would actually catch on fire. But each to their own. I mean, some people like the smell of a tree in their home. Each to their own, right? I don't know. I mean, what's the difference? If they don't get taken down for a Christmas tree, they're going to get chopped down to be used for paper, or they're just going to get chopped down to be used to throw in somebody's fireplace. I mean, really, if you think about it.
Well, you can always use it for something else when it's done, but nobody does. They just throw them out at the curb and off they go. The garbage truck takes them away. Yeah.
But usually they get like mulched up for, and then like, for around trees and that kind of stuff in the summer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
think.
it kind of gets repurposed.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because aren't the pine needles very acidic, right? So,
well, yeah, I suppose.
I don't think you want to use that stuff for mulch so much. Maybe the tree itself, but not the needle. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't. That's actually a really good. Mind you, pine trees, they have a lot of sap in them too, right? So even if you started chopping it up for wood, they have to dry out for like a lot longer than a regular tree, I think, because of the sap in them, right?
No, you're right. I just looked it up, and it says most old Christmas trees are chopped up in a wood chipper and repackaged as mulch. Some become fuel burned up in waste-to-energy plants. Others decompose in a landfill, either as household trash or as an alternative material covering the daily waste. So there you go. So they do use them as mulch, but I think that stuff pretty acidic. I don't know if I'd want that really for.
Yeah, I would think so, but maybe they put chemicals and stuff on it to get
probably
that,
just
gas
to,
just
to
out of them.
destroy the environment. Put extra chemicals on that one, Joe. Before you mulch it, put some glyphosate on it. Glyphosate, the G stuff. Yeah, it's already dead, but kill it again. Spray some
who knows?
tree killer on it.
Were you able to open that TikTok video I sent you today?
I don't think I got whatever it was you sent. No.
Okay. Yeah, because I sent it to another friend and she said it wouldn't open, but yet when I forget, anyways, I'll tell you what it was. So do you remember when Trudeau went to a summit? I don't know if it was last year. He went to this summit and he went to sit down. And do you remember the guy on one side of him? Trudeau went to shake hands and the guy turned his head away from him.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, in this video, it's the same thing, but only when Trudeau turns the other way, after the guy turns his back to him, it's Pierre sitting there eating an apple. And the laughter in the background. The laughter is what makes you laugh the hardest, the people laughing. Because the look on Trudeau's face is and I'll try to figure out it's a TikTok video, but the look on Trudeau's face is priceless. He's just sitting there eating an apple, and the other guy's ignoring him, and the people laughing in the background is what makes you laugh more because I just like it'd be funny, but yeah, I don't understand why it didn't open for you. But anyways, that's what it was about. Anyways, I guess that's all I have to say tonight. So I'll let you get on to your movie here.
Okay.
And I'm glad you're feeling better, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, cool. See you. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, bye.
Okay, go ahead. You're on the air.
You got the most something man without a plan to master all your disasters, Rick. This Palestinian issue is not a fucking North American issue. It's an Arab issue, and that's where these fuckers should be staying. Plain and simple. It ain't my problem. It ain't your problem. And for the government to come up with a beautiful idea of $15 billion at a cost of $1,000 per Canadian to give these people jobs, it's not cool. I'm sick and tired of being taxed without any representation whatsoever. It's to the point where I'm ready to blow my top.
Yep.
And there's a lot of Canadians just like me that are ready to go overboard. Okay, when you start losing your shit during the next 18 months, because that's just going to happen to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start losing their shit, and that's when all hell's going to break loose. People that have worked their fucking whole lives in this stinking fucking country to lose it all over bad leadership. And people that think they could do whatever they want with our money and come up with fancy names for taxes, okay? Who do they think they are? The Rizzuto fucking crime family?
It is. It's a ridiculous amount of money to be throwing around, What family can afford, $1,000 just to give to a big auto company, right? Like this is
I can't.
Stupid.
I can't. TK right now in chat says national strike will stop. And I believe her. It's the only thing is, it's not going to be. It's going to be a forced strike, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're going to have no choice.
Right, because that's just one company. They're giving this kind of money to all kinds of companies. I don't even know what the total amount is, but they're giving it to, Ford and Volkswagen and GM. And I mean, you name the different companies. Honda gets money. They all get money. They're all at the public trough feeding,
Is this their way of getting? Yeah, is this their way of confiscating and forfeiting people's properties? Is to get them so far in debt they can't get out of debt. So this is how we're going to get the land for our 15-minute cities. We're going to run the people that have been paying their whole fucking lives, okay, out of their properties, so we could put in these. I seen something the other day. I think it was in Pickering or Peterborough. Okay, their solution to get rid of tent cities is to put in cans.
Yeah.
Okay, and I watched it. I went, "Is that where we're coming to? Get in the can.
Yeah.
Get in your can and shut up." Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what we're coming to? I'm sick and tired of it.
I know that they're.
But I did like to see.
They are. They do have projects where they convert those things into houses, right? They renovate them, they turn them in. There's a guy down in Windsor who has built a couple of them like that as prototypes, and you can look them up online. Those sea shipping containers that they also put on trains, and then they convert them into houses, and they stack them and do all kinds of crazy things with them. But I don't think it's an ideal solution, and it does show.
No,
that
that's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
That's fine and dandy if you got property on a lake up north, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Make your cottage out of it, whatever, right? This is not sustainable fucking housing, period. And for the government to come in and say, well, we're allocating billions of dollars to Quebec and everywhere else to build these homes, and for that Fergus or Fraser to come out and say, we're going to have millions of homes built. Like, fuck you. You got less than 18 months still in office at the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, if you can't get a million homes built, you're not going to get a million homes built in 18 months. The election's going to be up.
Yeah. Well, we saw that in Quebec, the 1.8 billion they're spending on housing. The report is that it will be at least 3 to 4 years before they even get any of them built. So it's not going to happen overnight, man.
Well, you want a million houses? We got 40 million people in Canada. So you mean to tell me 1 in 40 people are going to be building a house, which you're going to need not only that one guy, you're going to need the framers, you're going to need the concrete guys, the electricians, the plumbers. Okay, you're going to tell me that half the country is going to be involved in building a house. Mm-hmm. I highly doubt that. Right? It's sickening. I like what I seen in Argentina yesterday.
That guy's funny.
Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, we ran the footage of him with his chainsaw and showed him in some of his costumes. He's colorful. He's a colorful politician. And now
you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right. You don't know what you're going to get. Maybe he might do great. Who knows? Give the guy the chance. He's got over 50%. What was it? 54%.
55.6.
So he's got a majority.
55.6.
There you go. He's got a.
Yep.
And the leftards don't like him because he wants to cut everything in government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there's a lot of, look at the inflation in Argentina. Tucker Carlson went there and with $100 bill. Did you see that play he did?
No, I didn't see that. What happened?
Okay, it's out there. He went to Argentina with $100 bill. He went money exchange, $100 American. He got a stack of money that would probably be look like $100 grand Canadian.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And he says, how am I supposed to carry this? It's in a bag. So then he's in his car going, this is how bad inflation is on the Argentina peso. Okay. This is what I got for $100.
Interesting.
They're on the brink of collapse, just like Venezuela. Well, Venezuela has collapsed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're in the same boat right now. And the more we let other people take care of our shit the way that they are, these libtards, leftists, look out. Because Canada's not far behind that.
Yeah.
You want to let in 500,000 people a year. This is a worse idea than the Roxham Road crossing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get it. People want to stay safe. This ain't our problem. This is a fucking Arab problem. Why isn't Saudi Arabia with all that money and the rest of these fucks over there? Why aren't they dealing with the problem? Why is it our fucking problem? You want to come to Canada? Okay. Here's an idea. Move up to Churchill, Manitoba. See how you survive up there. Watch how fast they run home. And Johnny said, I like what Johnny said. I got a friend of mine. I hate to use this word, the boat people, but in the early 80s, the Vietnamese and the Cambodians and half of Southeast Asia was trying to get in here. Right? And they call them the boat people. Well, I met a really good guy who came off the boat. And they didn't come by boat, folks. They came by plane, but they just got that tag called boat people. And he was telling me, Leo, when I got here, I got to Toronto. It was middle of February. Shorts, T-shirt, sandals. So I walked outside, so he didn't know what to do. He nearly froze to death. Somebody at Pearson ended up hooking him up with support somehow, right? Showed him in the right place. And that's the way he came to Canada. So it is what it is. So what's the movie tonight?
Things to Come. Have you ever seen that?
Where'd you find this one at?
Oh, I've watched it like a gazillion times. It's from 1936. Let me read you the intro here. Things to Come, also known as
1936. What is it, a silent film?
Nope. It's an H.G. Wells story. I love this movie. It's a 1936 British black and white science fiction film from United Artists. Was produced by Alexander Korda, directed by William Cameron Menzies, written by, of course, H.G. Wells, the famous science fiction writer. The film stars Raymond Massey, Edward Chapman, Ralph Richardson, Margaretta Scott, Cedric Hardwicke, Maurice Brattle.
Did you say Charlie Chapman?
No. Charlie Chaplin's not in this. So the dialogue and plot were devised by H.G. Wells as a new story meant to display the social and political forces and possibilities that he had outlined in the 1933 story, The Shape of Things to Come, a work he considered less a novel than a discussion in fictional form that presented itself as the notes of a 22nd century diplomat. It's all about what's coming in the future. So it's sort of set in kind of that time frame, sort of just before World War II. But a lot of concerns about where the world was going to go with the sort of, I think that he could see sort of World War II on the horizon, right? And it deals with a lot of the social issues of the day. And then what ends up happening is you get like an apocalypse, and they go through everything that happens after, like basically like a nuclear apocalypse, right? And then how society is rebuilt afterward, and how mankind perseveres through it all, and what comes out on the other side.
Well, it sounds like a good watch. DK says it sounds like a porno. She says that in chat on Rumble. Sounds like a good porno. I'm going to get my popcorn ready.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of my favorite
I am
movies
at work
of all time.
I am at work, and everything's changing fast, like you said, Rick. Okay, if you're not into robotics as a technician or setup, a technician of any sort, really, you may be without a job.
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming that way. Even my industry, the 3D printing, everything else. I don't see this industry as a machinist being not even close to what it is in 30 years. If there's even a job as a machinist, 3D printers will take over everything else, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're headed that way. There's nothing we can do about it.
There's no stopping the technology. Yeah.
Well, that's why you got to get a trade. You can go to school for anything you want to do, even doctors, as we see AI and everything else is taking over their field. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Get a trade. You're not going to be able to have a robot come into your house and fix your damn plumbing or fucking whatever, drywall or electrical or whatever, right? Along those ways. So trades are where it'll always be.
Maybe. I don't know. Everything's going to change so much, but yeah. Change is coming. Things to come. That's for sure. Yeah.
100%. So let's get to the movie, man.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Leo.
Adios, guys.
Okay. See ya. Bye. Okay. So let's do that. Let's pull out of this. There we go. All right. Phones are disconnected and we are just about ready to get cranked up here. Just give me a second. I'm going to run a little transition-y thing and then we'll get to our flick for tonight. Haven't done this before, but I think it'll be fun. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so we're about ready to get cranked up with this thing. So I'm going to roll it, and I'll dip in here and there, and maybe comment at certain points during the course of the events. Now, I'm gonna have to dump off YouTube for this because I don't want a copyright strike. So we're gonna jump off YouTube. Let me get you the link to our Rumble channel. If you are watching, I'll put this in the chat. So here is the Rumble channel. So click on the link and go over to the Rumble channel. And please like, share, subscribe. If you are watching on our YouTube channels tonight, please consider subscribing there and ring the notification bell so that you're always notified when we post new content on YouTube. But yeah, we're going to jump off YouTube and run this this film. Even though it's not a copyright issue, they will still flag us for copyright because it's just what they do on YouTube. So here we go. This is Things to Come, H.G. Wells. And one of the greatest movies of that era, maybe of all time, 1936. And the story certainly still stands up today. It was way ahead of its time. Things to Come.